morning, and thank you very much. So I just want to correct this Ajara Algali. My dad was sitting right there, and he was like, Ajara? And I said, yes, 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 I will make sure to correct. So good morning. Okay, well, let's bring everyone up. We have Hamid Algali. Yes, we have the same last name. That is my dad. So we're going to have you come up. Next, we have Imam Abdullah Diao. Yes, okay. We have Alcina McMorris and Dr. Kim. Is she? Yes, I was like, I hope she didn't go anywhere.
No, I'm not a politician. I don't run out.
So, what we're going to do right now is hopefully within 30 seconds, we'll have these individuals give them a brief background about you. I don't know if you want me to give your story, Daddy. I can, you know I know it.
Let me say one or two words.
Okay. Hamid?
Hamid Al Ghali is my name. I'm from Freetown, Sierra Leone. And I came here 1975. I work at Ford Motors, and I retired, and I'm enjoying this beautiful state of Michigan and United States.
Okay, all right. 75, that's a long time. Okay.
My name is Abdullah Ndao. I'm from Senegal. Where's Senegal at?
All over.
I came into Michigan. Thank you. I came into Michigan in 1991. I am a physical therapist by profession. I ran a private practice in Michigan in Ypsilanti. In fact, back in early 2000, I had another clinic in Detroit. But right now, we're currently operating with one practice in Michigan, which is in Ypsilanti. I believe if anybody can correct me, I happen to be the first Black-owned physical therapist in Michigan. So I thank God for that. And I thank my parents and my family for helping in keeping the practice. Thank you.
So I'm Alcina McMorris. I hail from the beautiful island of Jamaica. So I came to the U.S. in 1995 via New York to Texas to North Carolina and then to Michigan. I came here for work. What I do now, I am in insurance and also a little bit of finance conversation.
And I feel, hello? Oh, and I feel like you all know who I am, but I was born in Guyana, immigrated to New York, stayed in New York through college and grad school, and then moved to California for the last 24 years. So I am a researcher at the University of Southern California.
So thank you for our guests. And again, my name is Ajara Algali. I'm a first-generation immigrant of Sierra Leone. And so this conversation is really going to be about storytelling. We saw the data. We're not going to analyze the data, but we're really going to try to put personal stories behind it. And so this question is for everyone. And this really has to do with historical migration patterns. How have the historical migration patterns shaped the immigrant experience in Michigan? And can you share any key events or movements that you personally experienced during your time, whether it was here in Michigan or in the United States? I'm going to pick you, 1975.
Yeah, we pick the senior, right?
Thank you very much. I will tell you when I graduated from high school in Freetown. I was in boarding school anyway for 5 years, and that's where I groomed myself as a school soccer captain, food manager, prefect, and all that. And then I went and worked at the diamond mining company as a security guard. And from there were promotions all over in the mining. I said, let me come and get a quick certification to come to the United States. After I finished my education, I decided to go back to taste the water. The time I came, Sierra Leone currency was 75 cents to $1. By the time I went back after 4 years, it was like 2 leons to $1. And it has been going up. I won't tell you how much now our leons, but it's just incredibly bad. But when I arrived here, I didn't know anybody, but my first school I attended was Henry Ford Community College, and there I met some white family who embraced me, and they lived in Allen Park. So every holiday I will go there and spend time with them. But let me tell you this story. When I was coming back, I was living in Highland Park, 155 Highland Park, not too far from here. But the state trooper chased me from Highland Park. Oh God, a lot of stories. And since that time, I never went back, and I told them. But coming to this country, your first thing that you have to do is to do networking. Know your people, who and who. If even you do not have your own kind, your own people, you have to look the next close of people who are here. Like I said earlier, when I came, the first organization that I joined was the Caribbean organization. Every year we used to dance, party, a lot of fundraising, and we used to dance from Woodward by Art Plaza and dance on the street all the way to Bel Air. And then we have to find our way every year until more people start coming. And then my other family, extended family, were the Nigerians and the Congolese. And at that time, Nigeria, the students were having, I would say, scholarship from Nigeria. And all of us were Nigerians. Anyway, are you Nigerian? I said, yes, I'm a Nigerian. Because they were the ones getting all the money. They're going to college, and then the remaining funds in their scholarship, we all get entertainment from there. It was fun. But what I would like you to do as you go along is to ask me. I do not want to tell you too much, but you will learn from what I explained from your questions. Thank you.
Okay, so he said ask some questions after. Okay. Imam?
Yes. Well, as far as immigration, for me, I go back to our beloved book, the Quran, where Allah would tell us, "Alam takun ardullahi wasi'a fatuhajiru fiha." Isn't it that the land of God is vast for you to migrate through it? So as a young kid at 17, I first experienced my first immigration. I went to Kuwait for my education. That's where I had my undergraduate studies in physical therapy. Actually, I was going there to study Islamic studies, but I did the first few years and I then transferred to physical therapy. I worked there until the Gulf War in the 89, 90, actually was the Gulf War. So I came back to Senegal. I was hoping to find a job as a physical therapist because, as we know, physical therapy is a needed profession in human health. Unfortunately, it was not possible. So I came to America to help my late religious leader, teacher, may Allah have mercy on his soul, Sheikh Hassan Sise, to establish a clinic in Senegal. But when I came, it did not happen for one reason or another. Then at that time, physical therapy was highly needed. So my employer at that time, in November of 1991, he hired me, and I remember the conversation we had. He asked me, "What is your dream?" I said, "Take over the practice from your hands." And he laughed and said, "You must be nuts." Well, in 1999, I took it over. And it was by the help of one of the sisters, Mary, who lives, actually, I think, she was in Ann Arbor. And when I told her about it, she helped me with another African-American banker to buy the practice from my previous boss. Since then, I've seen the difficulties. And I will go back a little bit. In 91, when I came, I didn't know a Senegalese in Ann Arbor. Those who were here were about 6 or 7 in Detroit. Then they told me about one of the African-American Muslim brothers at the masjid, told me about a brother who was just getting married. He said his name is also Abdullahi. And I happened to go to the mosque, and while after prayers were coming out, and we saw each other. He said, "You must be Abdullahi." I said, "You must be Abdullahi." And that marriage that he just had married to was the mother to that boy, Salihu. His father is the one that I met at that time. So we were the two, and it grew from there to 6, 7, and so on and so forth. So I later went on to Oakland University to get my graduate studies and ended up with a doctorate in physical therapy. And we established a Senegalese association, SAOM, that was from Ann Arbor area, and we expanded to Detroit. And it carried on. In the 2000s, that's when a wave of migrants of Senegalese started coming into this area. So we lived in that position, and we had only the Senegalese association groups that were working to later on religious groups and the Senegalese communities. Right now, I thank God that I'm employing, as they said about the immigrants, let me tell you this quick little story. One of our employees, at one point while I was working with the previous boss, it's bigotry, as we said. She was bashing against the immigrants. And they came here, they this and they that. The boss happened to hear it. He's from Pakistan. He came up to her and told her, "Yes, because an immigrant is who gave you this job." So as immigrants, we're not here to take anybody's job. I'm proud to have my black job. That black job I have is employing Americans, and is employing, right now, 8 employee Americans that are getting paid. So as immigrants, we should be proud of ourselves. And to those of you who are young, I remember what my father told me when, may Allah have mercy on his soul, let the sky be the limit. And That's my story, and I think we all can do it. We are part of this country. As I said earlier in the beginning, this is the land of immigrants. Nobody owns it. It's only the Indians who are here, and they also moved. Allah told us in the Quran that the land of God is vast. If you are oppressed, if you're in need of something or another, you move. Those who are here moved because of either education or business or better income. That's what they're here for, and that's what you're here for as an immigrant. Whether you're here as an immigrant or the children or a child of an immigrant or descendants of the slaves that came into this country, you're still an immigrant. It's just those who are more recent and those who are older immigrants. So power to the immigrants.
So thank you for telling my story.
You're welcome.
So I moved to the United States in 1995. I had already had like a year and a half in marriage, and my husband and I decided we wanted a better life. From where we were in Jamaica, we wanted to start our family here or abroad. We were foreign-minded. And so my husband made the choice for the United States. So we came here. He came like 94 and I came 95. So we moved to New York and settled there for about 9 years, and then we moved to Texas for another opportunity, and also to make sure that our immigration workings were being done. Then from Texas, I worked in a corporation who transferred me to another state, which is North Carolina, because they wanted me to have my skill set replicated. So I was sent there to manage a team and to have that done. However, we separated, and then another company sought my skill set and brought me here to Michigan. So I came to Michigan in 2012, but faced several different barriers. So therefore, I could not move further with the skill set that they so badly sought after. But as immigrants, we always recreate ourselves, right? We find another way to do something else because we have to survive in this land. And so that's what we did. The sad part is, it took us 28 years. I'm only a green card holder just for a year and a half now. It took us 28 years for us to get our green card. And one thing I learned when I was growing up is we don't wait for things to happen. We make things happen. And I think that is not just a Jamaican thing. I think it's embedded in our African roots that we transform stuff. We don't wait for stuff. And so that's what happened for me here. And we will talk a little bit more about the stats and why immigrants make such a difference in the state of Michigan. But that's where I'm at right now.
Thank you.
So the question is about the shape of immigrants, right? And why they're here, why they're moving. I was probably the person on the panel that's moved here at the youngest. I think I was 14 when I moved to New York. But people move for three reasons. They move because their economy is bad, families, that is. They move because they want to have a better life for their children, and they move because of the recent climate change or wars in your country. So those are the three reasons, I think, why the flow of immigration is happening. And, for Black immigrants in Michigan, in the 90s, I think the slide said there were not that many people moving here. In the 90s, about 9,000 immigrants, Black immigrants in particular. And then in the early 2000s, another 7,000. But in the last 10 years, it's about another 12,000, right? So you definitely see the shift, and you want to ask people in the room, how many people moved here just for a better opportunity for their families? And then how many moved here because your economy in your home country sucked? right? So Hamid was mentioning the Sierra Leone dollar is 22 to 1 US now. In Guyana, it's 209 Guyanese dollars to 1 US. Right, so the economy is really bad around the country, which is why folks are seeing the United States as sort of their pie in the sky. And when they get here, it's a whole other next question we'll get to, but I'll just leave it there.
That actually is the next question. So I wanted to really talk about the economic contributions and workforce participation. This question is for everyone, but Imam and God dog it, Daddy. I want to say Hamid, but it's like that's foreign to me. But as small business owners, as a child, in 1986, 85, you had a nightclub, small business owner, right? Yes. Let's talk about the unique skills and backgrounds or influence that you saw Black immigrants, whether recent or not, contribute to the state's economy during that time. And then we'll transfer it over.
Well, like you said, in 1985, while attending school, I also had opportunity to get a job at Blvck, and I worked over there up to 30 years. But in 1977, when I entered the workforce, while we were students, we were going from house to house. Call Abdul, call Mohammed, who is having a party. Then all of us went over there until I look at it when I got a job at Blvck, started having some money, and then I bought some sets that I became the first DJ right here in Detroit. And then each household, when we were having the weekend party, I would DJ. Then I look at it, the immigrant population started growing. And I decided for us to have a nightclub. I talked to almost every one of us at that time, but everyone were not economically stable. But I used the opportunity because I started having some few bucks in my hand. So I bought a set, and then there was a building on Plymouth Road, 1925 Plymouth Road, between Southfield and Evergreen. That was the first African nightclub. And I look at the building. There was a small area where they wrote the number to call. While I was going to work, I'd make a U-turn. I got the number, and that I called the owner. It was an Italian man, and he said he was selling the building, including the liquor license. But I told him he has to put the liquor license in escrow, and I bought the building on rental basis every month, 1,000. The first 3 months, I was just paying him. Before going to work, I was on night shift. I will go enter the building, I look at it, laugh to myself. I say, yeah. And then the building started picking dust and all that. I said, well, I have to do something. I rallied again to get some of the African friends, Nigerians, Sierra Leoneans, Liberians, but everyone was hesitating to join, to come on board. Then I decided to go solo. So the man decided, he said, okay, you do not have the money. We start on a rental basis. Every month, 1,000, I was just dropping in. Then after a few months, I realized, I said, if it takes me 1 year, I would have given this man 12,000. And then some other friends said, man, you're doing a good job. But what I did to help the African community, from Senegalese, Liberians, Nigerians, Ghana, including Sierra Leone, I let each organization came and utilize that building for free to raise awareness and also to help the organization to grow. And then after 2, 3, I have few bucks, and I was paid the Italian money, so I didn't feel it that much. Then after a few months, each organization, even the Cameroonians, their group out of Sierra Africa, they bought a building that also they were, when immigrants were coming from Cameroon, they were housing those immigrants, the Africans who were coming. So in few years, 5 years, I've been paying on rental basis. Then 60,000 gone. I said, I have to renegotiate. So the man said, okay. And then I raised money. I got a Ghanaian guy came, a Liberian guy came. We raised money, we put money down on the building, including the liquor license. Then we turned it to a nightclub. But my system was a little bit tedious and long. Just consider 5 years, you've already got 60,000 down the drain. So what's the lesson here? You have to vision where you want to take yourself or your group. You have to fellowship, you have to talk with each other. Most of us, when we come to the table, we will argue to the ground. We will talk so much negative about each other. We cannot do that. Look ahead, look into the future, and see what you have to do for the group. It will be very, very helpful. So, the Congolese were also Sierra Leoneans, a lot of people. You know, we come together as one, and I will definitely tell you that out of Sierra Africa made all the immigrants in Michigan or Detroit especially to grow. I helped the Caribbean because they also helped me. The Caribbeans were helping me again to pay the bills. I befriended a group called Universal Expression. They raised a lot of money. So the moral of this story I'm trying to share with you, you have to expand beyond your comfort zone, because I'm an African first, and I see the part that I've played in this community to grow. And there are lots and lots of friends who were asking me, how did I do it, to turn the organization around. So I live there for now.
Can you rephrase the question?
Yep. So the question is about economics. So what have you done, or how can you expand on bettering the economic conditions of Black migrants in Detroit, Michigan, or globally?
Okay, I'll start with just when I first came into this country, I said to myself, I set goals. As a person, you have to set goals. My first goal was to get a driver's license, because Michigan, you don't go anywhere without a driver's license. And I was only holding a H-1B visa, a touristic visa. So I didn't even care about anything else because I knew I was there for a minute. So I asked myself to get my driver's license, and then I will get my license as a physical therapist, and I will get my green card. And then I will own a business, and I will own a house. And God blessed me. Within 10 years, I was able to do all of that. So there was nothing that stopped me because I had a plan in my head. This is what I wanted, and this is what I wanted to go. And I believe in God that He will bless anything I touch if I put my mind into it. As an immigrant, when you come to this country, that's what you need to come for. You need to come to a place because you've traveled all this distance. You spent so much money. And especially those who are just new arrival, they went through danger zones to make it into here. So when you come, you have to have a goal. You didn't come to this country to party. You didn't come to anywhere. You don't go anywhere to party. You go somewhere to be something or to do something. So since I built my house in 1996, until now, I've seen so many Senegalese, bless their souls, build or buy their own homes. Where when we came here, there were just a few of us who had degrees. Most of the immigrants came here and work as laborers, or they have something they will sell, be in the market. But how many of our children now have graduated from colleges? How many of our children now have had businesses? If this organization, this gathering that we have here is by another person who had a dream, Dr. Sadie, she came here as an immigrant. She realizes that the immigrants need some type of assistance. What can I do? How can I impact them? How can I impact their life? Impacting the life of the immigrants impacts the progress of this country. Because if these immigrants get to school, graduate, they will work and they will pay taxes. If they open businesses, they will pay taxes. They will employ people who pay taxes. If they buy homes, they will pay taxes. And if they pay these taxes, that's what runs this country. So that's how immigrants think, and that's how we all are thinking about. And that's why sometimes when they say the immigrants are coming to take our jobs, they only take your jobs if you're lazy. But if you are a decent person who wants to keep your job, they don't take your job. They don't come to take your job. They come to create their job. They come to get a job, not to take a job from nobody. So that is the mindset of an immigrant. That is a mindset of the community of Senegalese that I know, and I see it in our compatriot Africans. Like the brother mentioned, when we came here, we rented his place. I remember we organized the Senegalese independence at his place, at his club. But right now, I remember one story, a brother from a Muslim brother who came into one of our events, and he said, all other communities have something that they leave behind, except the Senegambian community. Well, we have a community center, a building we bought outright with cash. We have another community center also bought in cash by the two organizations of the Senegalese in this state, in the city of Detroit. The Tijani community have a Zawiya, which can house 350 people. The Khadim Rasul Center is in existence, which can also host over 300 people in the building. This is how the immigrants think. They come in and they participate, and they put forth their efforts. And God blesses them to carry on and be successful. So we thank Sister Sadie for efforts that she is doing in assisting these new arrival and those in her group who are helping the new arrival in achieving the goal that everybody is running after, which is the American dream.
Thank you for that. So as we, okay. Clap. As we wrap up, I wanted to hear from Alcina and Dr. Tabari. So let's talk about the vision for the future, right? So looking forward, what is your vision, or can you share a vision for an inclusive Michigan that supports Black immigrants? What does that look like, and what are the key steps to get there?
So that already started. This is with the ABISA, the Caribbean Community Service Center, the JAM, Jamaica Association of Michigan, and all those. Those have already started. So I was going to just share briefly how I got involved. So I came here in 2012. In the March of 2013, I was in Macy's looking for shoes, and a young lady was standing there, and I heard her accent. We started talking, and she told me about JAM. The beautiful thing is God blessed me with a special needs child. So what was starting to create inside of me and cultivate inside of me is, how can I advocate for others, right? Because I have to advocate for him. So then that's what got molded. And so when I met her, I got involved with JAM, and then I met Sophia, and then Sophia got me involved with Sadie, and that's how we do it. So when we collaborate our thought process, when we move things together, we get so much more done. One of our fights as immigrants is the whole situation of no driver's license for undocumented immigrants in Michigan. That's a dignity matter that people are struggling with right now. So we have to be in the trenches and the fight to make sure that gets changed, and we move these things along by talking to the heads that be, the government officials that we put in.
I want to say a couple of things first about the economy. So we have this thing that we have been trying to retrain our brains into saying our economy instead of the economy. Because when you say the economy, it's like over there, it's someone else's thing. When you say our economy, we have a sense of belonging, like this economy belongs to us, we are building this economy. And for immigrants in Michigan, $1.5 billion in state and local taxes you pay, $4 billion in federal taxes. And so you've got about 10, 12, $14 billion left over for spending. So you have a lot of power in the economy. So I just want to acknowledge that, right? It's our economy. And I want to just really emphasize the inclusiveness of Michigan has to do with the things that were already mentioned: persistence, having a plan, and lastly for me is having an intrinsic desire to do better for yourself, for your family, for your community, for your culture. You have to have that, right? And this is grounds from my own dissertation. When I was in my doctoral program, my dissertation, I wanted to find the positives that were helping Black folks, not the negatives or the thing that was keeping us down, right? So I specifically talked to Black men in college as to what are the things that are making you succeed. I wanted to look at success metrics because there's so much written on why we fail. Mm-hmm. And and I've got a son and brothers, it was me search, right? So I talked to Black men in particular, and, they have, additional funding and student support and all of this stuff, right? But the number one thing for them was intrinsic. I had to want it for me, for my daughter, for my son, for my mother, for my community. I was the only one in the hood that made it to college, right? It had to be intrinsic. So if you all don't feel that intrinsic need personally to say, I have to do this for me, my family, my community, then we're just at another conference every year talking about numbers. You have to want it in order for us to really move the needle.
So as we wrap, because you don't have to give me that warning, I'm on it. I would like to ask everyone, in terms of your thoughts, your recommendations, like you've heard everyone's story. What would you like to see within the next year? If Ibiza has this conference next year, what are some of the things that you would have liked to have done, succeeded? What would be success between 2024 and 2025? And anyone can answer this question.
Let me go first. The way I look at it is, like I said earlier, networking is very important. For me, I've involved in everything in the democratic process here. I'm a staunch Democrat. I've done polling, I've done door-to-door campaign, I've done telephone, you name it, all across the United States. And I've worked in the precincts, I do not know how many times, vote, challenger, you name it, I've done it all. I look at it this way. When you come, you look at, you will know the people who are active. This organization, I'm impressed with CD and all the other staff who are working together with her. It is very important for all of us who have come to participate in the democratic process in this country. Like my landed brother said, we are in a country of immigrants, a country of laws. We have to obey every law. Knock on wood, my license is clean because I obey every turn, every stop and all that, you know. And I'm not shy to talk to anyone. I talk to you straight face. I'm not in any drug. I don't drink or smoke. I can talk to anybody I want to, but tell you the way I grew up in this country, and look at in the community and see who have been here long and get some few tips as to how to survive in this country. There are a whole lot of people who can give you a helping hand to survive in this country. There are lots and lots of opportunity in this country that you can benefit from. I've been a taxi driver, I sold Avon, you name it, I've done it before I went to the automobile. From working on the line to supervisor, help make some recommendation to change, you know, in assembly the cars. I mean, I'm not sharing this with people. I want to go and do something in Sierra Leone, but Sierra Leone, they are not serious yet. What we can do, you know. But that's all I have to say. There are a lot of bright minds among all of us here that you can do networking. Share. Don't shy. bashful. Talk to people. You'll be amazed the tips that you get from each one of us. And I want to thank each and every one of you that helped to put this program together. You're on the right path. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, because Hamid Agali, he, you know what I'm saying? He can talk. I grew up with this man. Yes. So last comment, then we're going to wrap up.
So one of the things I would want to see is the barrier. One of the biggest barriers are the driver's license for all. That is a fight for me. It changed my life based on experiences that I've had facing for not having driver's license. So that is one thing I would want to see change in the next year. We have been fighting, and I'm thinking it's close to 10 years now. We've been fighting for that. So those of us who having a driver's license does improve the economy in Michigan. It will improve it because they're going to get more monies. And those monies are going to create to have more resources, not only for immigrants, but also for everyone here in the state of Michigan. So I think that is one of the things that I would like to see done. But let me just plug this piece in. I can't vote. So find your people who can vote. Driver's license for all is on the ballot. You need to make sure you have the people in there who are going to be making the changes, not saying they're going to make the change, but keep them accountable to that change. Promise.
I asked for 1 minute.
I know,
because
I got a minute after you. Go ahead.
Because I think it's very important that the whole, as we see it, this was a very well organized, but it is lacking something, the youth. We need to have a lot more of the youth fill up this building. We talked about the first generation. We've been here first, our children. I have 3 grown children. None of them is here. And there is so many of these youth that could be here and benefit from these experiences that we're sharing. Because they are the ones that are carrying on. Because if we don't have them hear these messages and pass it along, the messages or these things we have to share will die with us. I have one example is when I went to Singapore to give a talk there, I found the organization that was done, it was done only by youth. The average age was 27. And the auditorium we have was 3 to 4 times bigger than this, and it was full. And they all paid $50 a person to come and listen to it.
Thank you. So I just want to name, because I believe in being authentic. I just want to name that sitting here, I felt like I heard a lot of respectability politics, and I just want to name that there's definitely long-rooted immigrants in Michigan, as they are in many of the cities across the country. And there is a disconnect from the youth because of what we find respectability politics, where the older immigrants or the older generation feel like, we've done this and we did this and we don't do this and, we abide by the rules, and, it becomes this very like, we're doing all these things right. It's sort of like, the Asian American syndrome, where the Asian are the perfect immigrants and everybody else is just trash. So it sort of reminds me of that. So I just want to call that in, because we can't reach the youth if we come at it in this respectability politics way, as we are the older generation and we know better. So I just want to call that in. I also want to say that we are all Black people in the United States. We get here, we're seen as Black. So we have to build across the aisle, across generations. We have to. We cannot have this separate situation happening, because we will always stay at the bottom if that's the case, in our little corners. And lastly, one of the barriers to belonging in Michigan, it's something that people don't think about, but the Iman mentioned, is the limitations to professional licensing, for example, right? That process is a mess. So the Congress people that were in here earlier, I would say get at them, figure out what can they do to streamline professional licensing. Folks are coming in from other countries with license, they're licensed to be architectures or this or that, and they've got to take 600 tests to be a barber, they've got to take 3 hours to be a police officer. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? So that is one thing that I see as a big barrier here, that the professional licensing process is not streamlined. So I just wanted to leave you with that one concrete thing to follow up on, and the rest of it is just being aware of, our connections.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The conversation does not end here. Please, throughout the day, if you see someone, if you have a question, don't be shy to raise a question. So, Sophia.
Thank you. In Jamaica, they would say, clap them up, clap them up. Thank the guests so much and this beautiful moderator for the conversation that we just had. It's time for us to take a break. Get up, stretch, go grab some coffee, get some snacks. Be back here in 15 minutes.